All right, Grixis Control. We had played a non-Yorion build of Grixis Control in Historic once before, and it actually felt incredibly reasonable. And as always, you can find the previous version of Grixis that we played on my website and my YouTube channel. This build today is adding Yorion to it, and basically, as far as adding Yorion goes, I basically just turned a bunch of 3-ofs into 4-ofs. And I like turned our 4-of discard spell into 6-of discard spell. And I turned 4 sweepers into 6 sweepers. So kind of just dialed all the numbers up a little bit here. We've got reasonable interaction, decent sweepers. We've got Kroxa, Nicol Bolas as methods to end the game. We have Ashiok Dreamrender here as a main deck form of Graveyard Hate and Search Hate that also helps us draw into our Kroxas. So let's go ahead and queue up some matches here with this and see how it goes. Grixis Control now with 33% more disappointment. It's funny because it's true. And if Yorion gets banned on Monday, 80-card decks would still be a thing. No. I also don't think they're going to ban Yorion on Monday. I actually think, if anything, we're probably going to see Companions get unbanned eventually because they said they're going to be changing the way Companions work. So it wouldn't make sense to ban Companions if they're going to change fundamentally how the mechanic functions. Alright, well, we very skillfully milled 4 non-lands here. So hopefully we're going to draw a land. We kept a 3-lander. We milled 4 non-lands. Look at that. Look at that. Nailed it. Nailed it. So we get Agent of Treachery as soon as next turn. Gato Gelato, thanks for the brand new tier 3 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Okay, this is good for us. Being able to get at least one attack in with Kroxa before it gets stolen is ideal here. Probably dead. Control deck losing to Field of the Dead. Name a more iconic duo. Oh. Oh, they're at 1. Okay. So they need to have a spell in their hand to discard here. Which I guess is likely, but... Huh. Actually, I'm gonna Atris here, because if we hit Agonizing... I don't have enough to re-escape this. I'm gonna Atris, because if we hit Agonizing Remorse, I can exile their Uro. Before I do this. I don't know what to do, chat. We aren't winning with Bolas? Are you sure? Like, Bolas kills Uro. The other upside, so the other upside to taking the Bolas is, okay, didn't matter, got it. The other upside to taking Bolas in a situation like that is, the other two cards would go to the bin for escaping what's it called later. Potentially would have real value. Ego and extra discard spells in here for sure. Do I need all my Bedevils? Probably not. I think I'd rather keep Cries and Extinction Events to clean up the board. This being able to exile Cavalier seems reasonable as well. Exiles Uro and Cavalier. What do we think of this configuration? That game really showing some of the strengths of having Crocs as a way to close things out. Cause it's a sneepa keepa do 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 sneepa keepa do 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 do. Prison Zombie, thanks for 3/4 of your. Of course we hit Mythic. We play pretty much only viewer submitted deck lists on this stream. Why wouldn't we hit Mythic while doing that? We avoided the ladder for 2 weeks this month. Then for the 2 weeks we played entirely viewer-submitted lists. Of course we got to Mythic. Alright, so they have Field of the Dead here that they're gonna get into play before I ego them, unfortunately. Please don't play Field. 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 Rats. I think Agent of Treachery is the first name, right? Or is it Ulamog? A tough call. 4 agents. We saw an Ulamog last game. 1 Ulamog. They have a singleton Ulamog. How many arrows do they have? 1, 2, 3. 3 Uros. Timely doesn't really matter. And I have Ashiok to deal with Uro too. Trying to think what I want to do with my next ego. They currently don't only have 1 green mana, which is great. In 5 days of youth being back to school here in Israel, they've now had to close an entire school district and then probably return to quarantine. Yeah, bringing, like, schools of any kind, like, are going to be worse than a corporate environment. Like, you can't really explain to kids that they need to, like, socially distance. I think I'm just Ashioking here. Like, they're pretty far off of casting this. Korea is at 50% capacity in schools. Korea's had one of the best responses in the world, along with New Zealand, so it'll be interesting to see how successful they are getting kids back to class. Seoul just shut down a bunch of schools again. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Alright, so what do I want to do here? I think I'm just going to Nicol Bolas. Because if they hit the green source and play Cavalier next turn, I just get to Extinction Event and exile Beanstalk and Cavalier, and it's not a big deal. Vietnam. I'm not familiar with any of how Vietnam's response has gone during any of this. Yeah, I mean, like, not only are kids petri dish with legs, like, cross-pollinating between lots of different... Like, not only do they cross-pollinate between lots of different people's homes, but, like, they literally just, like, touch everything and hug each other and just, like... Yeah, it's a disaster. I think I'm in for a Cry here, because Cry will let me keep their zombies in check. And our opponent's acting a little bit odd here, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that out. This was a very good draw. Captain Akab, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. You having trouble obtaining lands I need for decks? The answer is buy 100 packs. Yes. Yeah, the easiest way to grow your arena collection is just buying packs. You should buy packs of the set you want the most cards from, and that way you'll end up getting some of the cards you wanted to craft incidentally as you go. So I'm expecting them to pump up Blast Zone and blow it up next turn, so I'm going to go ahead and attack here. I'm going to go ahead and Cry, exile these zombie tokens. And then we have 15 cards in the graveyard, so unless they draw a piece of graveyard hate here, Crox is going to get to pop up next turn. Hey, Hacksaw, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome back. Thanks everybody hanging out here today, by the way. We're playing a few historic decks to kick things off. And then we're going to be wrapping up today with a sponsored segment with Legends of Runeterra. If you want a really easy way to support my content, just hang out through the stream all day today. My payout for that segment scales based on how many people I have watching, so... Great easy way to support Oglandia is to hang out through the end of that segment. Escaping Kroxa here is fine, because even though this costs 4 to escape, it still has a converted mana cost of 2 while it's in play. The Blast Zone currently has 4 on it. Was there consideration for transforming Nick? No, Blast Zone has 4 counters on it. Yeah, the flip side of this is still 4. Even though Arena says 0, that's a mistake. Its converted mana cost is 4. And if I went to flip it, they would just kill it in response. Even if the backside was 0. I really feel like this match highlighted some of the strengths of the way this Grixis deck is built. Because this is a tap-out control deck that has Kroxa as a way to actually close the game out, we were able to actually win there what's often an incredibly difficult matchup for control decks against Field of the Dead. So that ability to be a little bit proactive went a really long way for us. Yeah. Yeah, being able to have Kroxa to close things out is fantastic. Even 4-mana Nicol Bolas is a relatively aggressive thing to let you close. Like I said, we played a non-Yorion build of this deck once before, and it was reasonable as a not Yorion deck. And then with plus 20 cards, it's probably still okay. Gyruda of the Doom Depths. I'm just gonna go to the next match. I don't have any desire to play my control deck against this. My tap-out based control deck is not gonna... Like, I have Unmoored Ego and discard spells here as my anti-combo cards, and neither of those interact with my opponent's companion. Just gonna move along with my life. Ladder. My ladder rank is meaningless. What's the Gyruda deck trying to do? It flips a bunch of Gyrudas into play. Companion stat panic confirmed, right? Yeah. Yeah, the Gyruda decks tend to be pretty mediocre in general, but they're fine against like what we're doing. I don't really feel like slogging through it. Yeah, it's got Gyruda into Spark Double. Basically the core premise. Easy mulligan here with no second land. And yeah, I mean, like, it's Magic. We're not 0%. If you're someone out there that hates yourself, you can play your 0% matchups if you can play your 10% matchups or 20% matchups if you want. I ain't got time for that. Sure, yeah, you could get Ulamog back with Gyruda. Yeah, a deck like that's just a rancid matchup for what we're playing, Fistful of Kittens, so... Save myself and my viewers the time. Hope you do well with your laddering with it. The fact that we didn't have an untapped land on 2 here, likely going to be a death knell for us. The fact that we're missing a land drop here on the draw, gonna be a death knell for us. Salad cookie crumble sometimes. Jeff has been socially distancing with land drops since 2012. Harsh, but fair. Harsh, but fair. Heartless Act. Heartless Act does have a drawback. Gosh, tapped lands suck. I'm gonna keep this one because we're on the play this time.
I must uncover more secrets.
How many lands are in this deck? 30, 37? 30, 37 lands? Sounds right. Sounds right. Feels Magic Man. Whenever people would talk about the companion mechanic removing all the variants from Magic or like making the games too samey, it's just like y'all realize these things still happen, right? Like my favorite ones are the ones that scream about companions changing the rules of the game just like every other Magic card. Yep. In fact, in the Magic rulebook, there's a line that says, if the rules of Magic and the Magic card disagree, the Magic card wins, because that's the point of the game, right? The point of the game is cards that change the rules. It isn't just your city anymore, Jiminy. Stay safe out there. We were certainly due for a revolution. It's really weird to me how now that people are protesting for inequality, all these conservatives suddenly care about law and order. But when people are protesting a stay-at-home order, that's not a big deal and their freedom needs to be respected. I thought their freedom was essential, chat. I don't get it. Because it didn't matter, Panda, if we didn't draw land, we weren't winning the game. And we didn't draw land and we died. Correct. Hypocrisy and logical inconsistencies are a core tenet of the GOP. Great, and we should be stabilizing hard and fast here. This gains us another 2 and gives us enough cards to escape this. Not only do we have big booties for blocking here, but we also pivot and close the game out quickly as well. I think I'm trading here, so that way Kroxa can trade here. If this was an untapped land, I might feel different, but because this is a tapped land, feels a little bit bad. Maybe I'm just supposed to play Yori in there, as opposed to cycling. Kroxa trades with Obosh. Really? Okay. They have a shock here to kill my Kroxa. Not interested in blinking my thing. We take a lot of damage here. Need to find some action. We're gonna be pretty far behind. Are we dead? Yeah, if you blink Kroxa, it'll die. Can I get a sweeper? Oh, feels magic, man. Feels magic, man. I haven't played Runeterra yet. That game doesn't have resource variants in it, right? Can someone, okay, buddy, fill me in if people played it? There's no resource variants in that one. The Agent Fett! Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Welcome back. Cool. I really need to look into getting a cordless headset. I kick the cord out of my headset way more than I would care to admit while standing up and down. Benthrax, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Fate Weave. Yes, Odium. It's fine. Hi, Onam. Thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Opponent playing something similar to what we're going to play up next. Call with Chain Whirler. Although the build we're going to play next isn't playing Obosh. Huh? If you get cordless headphones, would you get noise-canceling ones? I wonder if those would work for mowing, lawn, and general safety use. Oh, you mean for, like, using outside of the stream? I don't know. See if they really boy me here or not. If they do, we'll probably just Extinction Event next turn. Did our opponent disconnect? Looks like it. Well, that's unfortunate. Approximately how long until the baby arrives? Anytime from today until the end of June. That's true too. The electric lawnmower is much quieter. Dungeon Diver event's a grind. I already finished it. I have a problem. I finished the leveling event and the diver event yesterday. I'm just doing this. And then hopefully they play out Annex before we play Extinction Event in Name Odd. It is both self-propelled and it's lighter than my old... It's lighter than my old, one. Harder, better, faster, stronger, more than every hour after hour. Odd is always over. Bye, friends. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Went 1-3 in the slot machine. I never streamed from a Mac system because Apple hardware is stupid expensive for the power that you're getting. I previously streamed from a Linux drive on the same physical computer I'm streaming from now, but I am currently streaming from Windows setup. Apple stuff is mostly just a ripoff. The amount they charge you extra for the same hardware with their special proprietary stuff in it is pretty nonsense. That's fine, Danon. That's functional. At the end of the day, my computer is a tool that I need to do a job. And Windows has worked well enough for doing my job. Why would you assume that I had a Mac set up if I was on Linux? Doesn't make any sense. What's the connection there? Yeah, whatever the connection issue I was having must be related to the network stack on my Linux setup. So maybe I'll revisit that at some point. Ubuntu 2004 is out now, so maybe I'll reinstall 2004, and maybe the network manager there will be better. Just gonna kill their banner here, I think. How far into this deck are we? We've been playing this one for about 35 minutes. As someone who has spent a good deal of time using OS X, Windows, and Linux as desktop operating systems, the range of issues that you can have with all of them is many. And I feel like it's often overstated as how easy and user-friendly Apple software is specifically. And they have to kind of plug that in a way, because if their software doesn't have that, it basically has nothing, because it's incredibly expensive. Well, the stream title has one more deck in it after this one, Dongle, so one more? If I red cap with Obosh on the stack, they get one less token. That's a good observation. So I'd be up. Yep, points of life here. I agree. When people say a piece of software is intuitive, what they actually mean most of the time, in my experience, is that software is just modeled after something they're already familiar with. I think I'm doing this. This keeps this at home for now. And if I block and they kill this, it's not a big deal because I have Ashiok. I mean, most computers for people nowadays are just like avenues to launch Google Chrome anyways. So like, for most people, which operating system they're using, it largely doesn't matter. It's just, you know, it's a driver to get to the applications that they care about. Which for most people is just their web browser. An MTG or an operating system. I mean, I could roll you a Linux distribution that all it does is launch Magic Arena. That's definitely something we could do for you. Can confirm have a Chromebook was built for one job. Yeah, and that's why that was so successful, right? You can always tell if we're playing the ladder because there will be ladder ranks here in the top and the bottom. You can also always tell on this stream what we're playing by the stream title. So you'll always see the format and the current deck name in my stream title. You never have to come into this channel and guess. I do my best to work hard to provide the information and make it accessible that people want to see. it seems more complicated to use. It's not more complicated to use. If you're an average end user that's not familiar with computers, installing your own operating system is probably something that's beyond your capabilities. But at the end of the day, if you're given a computer with Windows, Linux, or OS X on it, and it's a modern desktop version of Linux, like, it's going to be just as easy as anything else to use. The complexity that comes from Linux systems is because it doesn't come pre-installed, and for the average person that doesn't have any meaningful computer or software experience, installing your own operating system isn't something that's trivial to do. And actually, if you give the average end user a Linux install disk and a Windows install disk or an OS X install disk, Linux is the easiest to install of the three. It's just, from an end user perspective, installing any of them is very daunting. Like, modern desktop Linux distributions are the same as Windows. There's a button that you click on and it lists all your applications in. There's a search bar. You click the Google Chrome icon, it opens your web browser, and you go. Morning, Bebo. Then what made me settle on Linux? Resource efficiency for a long time. During undergrad and grad school, the only computer that I could afford to have was a really low-end netbook and then eventually a Chromebook for part of it when those existed. And for example, you can get a full GUI experience on a Linux operating system on like a quarter of a gig of RAM, whereas like Windows boots up and uses a gig or 2 gigs of RAM just to load the user interface. Maybe I should have led on Blood Crypt tiers, that way Castle could come into play untapped sooner. Windows 10 uses about 4 gigs of RAM to run before any of the... Is that real? I mean, my computer has trivial amounts of RAM, so it's like not a... Is that real? Alright, now you're gonna make me open my task manager. Yeah, I guess I'm at 16 gigs of RAM used, and Chrome is taking 5.5, Arena is 2, OBS is 2. So that's 7, 8, and then probably another gig or 2 for miscellaneous background services. Yeah, I guess Windows is using quite a bit. That's funny. God, that's a lot. Ooh, that would make sense. Windows 10 memory management depends on how much memory is available on the PC. So it's more aggressive with how much memory it uses if there's more available to use. That would make sense. That's smart software. The Shiny Kuma. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Welcome back. Sitting at 3.5 with Chrome, Discord, and Raid open. Sure. It using more depending on how much is available would make a lot of sense. I mean, like, if you have RAM to use, there's not a problem with using all of it. You don't get a bonus for having extra RAM left over. My epilogue of fear. Was hoping to find a Kraxa there. One of the downsides to being 80 cards is definitely that you're less likely to find Kraxa consistently with things like Ashiok. I mean, applications like Chrome and Firefox catch some bad flack for like being memory hogs, but honestly, the modern web is not a resource efficient application. Like, it's not just Chrome gobbling up all that memory. Like, websites take a lot of memory to open these days. Feeling dead. Feeling dead. Am I dead yet? Think I want Libation. Think I'd rather have Ashiok. Of course we're dead. We're playing Grixis. Hey! We've won 2 matches. Thank you very much. What's Libation for? Enchantments, Reclamation, Fires, whatever other miscellaneous enchantment decks people might be playing. Afternoon Dwells. Maybe I'm supposed to Kroxa plus Redcap this turn, because Kroxa plus Redcap would let me escape Kroxa next turn. Kind of surprised to not see them skewer me here to get the extra point of damage. We just want to do this and get a card out of their hand before they get a chance to fully empty it. Then we're going to red cap their thing next turn, keep our health total high. And then Kroxa should close the game out relatively quickly once the board's clear. This basically attacks for 9 a turn. We don't get, like, threatened here. We should be good to go. Yeah, I agree. This is one of my favorite cards on Atheros, so it's not close. Really well-designed card. And tuning in and out if we cast Yorion? No. Well, yes, but it hasn't been super useful. I feel like the addition of Yorion hasn't been super valuable here. In fact, our deck being bigger and making it harder to... Our deck being bigger, making it harder to consistently find Kroxa with Ashiok's been a real downside. I'm gonna shock this in and red cap this turn, just be resource efficient, so that way I can Thought Erasure on 2 here. Light him up. We're on fire. Hey, Dragon Boy, thank you for the 18 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That's really good. Kroxas are our best way to close these games out. I think I'm keeping that because it gains 2. It potentially gains 2 more with Yorion down the line. This might be a game where Yorion's really good, right? Because we're locked out of our normal win condition here. We have 4 copies of Bedevil in our deck that can kill this. So we're not just cold to it, which is nice. Maybe I'm supposed to wait and play Yorion post Mire Triton, but this sets up my mana well. This uses all 5 of my mana this turn, and then next turn I can go Extinction Event, exile your Pyromancer, play Mire Triton. I'm going to elect to not block here, because I don't think I want to trade Yorion for Pyromancer plus a 3 damage burn spell. Now I kind of wish I would have blocked. Ferocidon's very good. Alright, there's a Kroxa if we can find a Grafta, if we can find a Bedevil. Yeah, we were like kind of expecting that. It's a good pickup. Have to hope they brick off a bunch. They've also been missing land drops though, so there's a good chance they have a lot of action in hand. Well, that's a card. Alright, so I see like 3 bricks out of them here. I'm so dumb. These are both odd. We're dead. I'm gonna give this one more shake, but I feel like my conclusion of what am I trying to say? That Yorion doesn't really seem to add much value here feels on point. Probably lead on discard spells against another Yorion deck. Yep. I'm gonna take the fires and then just hope I can pressure the agent out of their hand before they get there, I think, is my plan. This is a very good draw. Oh no! Please don't bounce my Nicol Bolas! Oh no! So we'll see them Yorion, they'll blink the Teferi, we'll get to Heartless Act the Yorion, plus play Kroxa next turn, and we'll get to attack the Teferi down. They don't have a land here, which is great. The Blood Crypt's actually a decent pickup for us here, because it lets us play both of these now in addition to this. I mean, to be fair, Agonizing Remorse gets rid of Nexus. Want to talk about ways to deal with Nexus of Fate? It's one of the reasons why we have 4 Remorse in my main deck and only 2 Thought Erasure. Assume they're gonna play this. Wow, they didn't play it right away. That's weird. They have a removal spell for Nick. They would have played this and had a land on their turn. They could have theoretically agented me next turn. I think that's probably a mistake on their part. Your opponent, please don't settle the wreckage me. Kneel before Zod. So sweepers are easy outs. Maybe I just keep a couple of Heartless Acts in, because clearing Yorion is fine on occasion, and killing a token in response to Luca's down tick is fine. Okay. Here, where the agent now? Does the agent count himself for the flavor text? He does. He does, in fact. Yep, yeah, this is the part of the game where, and this really just highlights some of the strength of the opponent's archetype, I think. Like, we have disruption for their agent plan, but they're just gonna like double Omen of the Sun us into Yori and Blinket, and we're just gonna get beat down by like 12 power worth of dorks. It's honestly one of the things that makes their archetype so strong. Just the flexibility of this game plan that they have. Difficult to account for all the things. I guess that's fine. I want some blockers. Is it though? It just doesn't matter. We're dead. I want some Ratchet Bombs at my 75. It's a good flexible card and cleans up tokens nicely. Returned from a trip to the slot machine stream. Croaky's the event. How's he doing? Did he qualify yet? How many times has he put money into the machine? Three, and now 0-1. Oh, you get 3 losses? That's so many losses. You can go, wait, you can go 7-2 to day 2? I thought you had to 7-1. Is it 7-2? You get 7-2 into day 2? Gosh, should we load up the slot machine chat? You get to go 7-2? Gotta drain everyone's gems before M21 comes out. Yeah. To a degree, part of me hopes, like, they start doing these events every weekend. That's true. And if I'm being honest, the best of one aspect bothers me less than the current standard format being medium does. If I liked the current standard format, I'd probably fire up and gamble a little bit, but I really don't.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
I've done the hero thing before. Don't dispute me. Don't dispute me. Don't dispute me. This is the part where they instep make a token.
In exchange for eternal servitude.
Or flash in Omen and then agent me next turn. Yes. Sweating bullets over here, chat. Sweating bullets. Maybe I'm supposed to destroy this. Yeah, that was probably a mistake. I'm probably supposed to kill this so that way I could play instant speed stuff on their turn. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to kill this Teferi so that way I can Heartless Act a token.
For your cause.
Reset him back to 4 here, huh?
Existence. Spark will be mine.
You think WotC designed the standard around the beat of best of 1 to promote Arena more? Since Arena's main focus on Arena is best of 1. I don't really know that it's fair to say that Arena's primary focus is best of 1. I feel like that's a little bit of projection. I definitely think they design cards with best of 1 in mind, but that's no different than the fact that they design, you know, they design cards with modern in mind, and pioneer in mind, and historic, and legacy on occasion. Like, or commander. Like, they're trying to appease lots of different masters, basically, when they're designing Magic sets. They're trying to appeal lots of different people. How much to fire up the slot machine? I don't know. I mean, at least 20 bucks, right? 'Cause that's what it'll cost me.
You have no weakness I cannot exploit.
My dreams.
I wouldn't hate Godzilla Lands. For a $20 tip, I'll do a run through. Through the best of 1. I have Mardu Knights loaded up. I will slam Mardu Knights into the best of 1 queue for a $20 tip. Ooh. Feels like we're gonna be a winner here, huh? Do you get the lands when you go 3? You do.
Monsters are the key to defending my city.
I've not followed anything related to standard or best of one. Have not touched it. You're blinking my Yorion. Bold strategy, Cotton. Bold strategy.
Only time will tell.
Witness a mote of my power.
Yeah, when people talk about coin flips, being on the play is definitely good in best of 3 as well. You just get fewer chances to break. You get more chances to break serve in best of 3.
Sorry I'm late.
Almost, Kenix. You got to put the 2000 next to the cheer. And thank you.
We will meet again.
My intellect is without limit.
Lands for Hoogland. What time is the queue open until? Does anybody know? How long is the best of 1 queue up until? Can I play one more historic deck after this and then do that? $19 hours. Alright, sick. Like 12 hours. Okay, so this was gonna be the wrap on Grixis regardless. So we're gonna do. I feel like after playing this and thinking about the build we had played previously, I was kind of underwhelmed by Yorion. I kind of feel like Kroxa is just secretly the best thing about this deck, being able to pressure people efficiently after we control the board a little bit. And our deck being bigger, making it harder to get to Kroxa consistently, didn't seem stellar. So while Yorion was like okay in some spots, I feel like it didn't really do anything super meaningful. I think I'd rather have a 60-card Grixis deck. Yeah, and if you're interested in what this deck would look like as a 60-card build, if you look back on my YouTube channel, you can find a video of that there and us playing it once before. All right, we're gonna do one more historic deck before we fire up the slot machine. I'm gonna do a quick ad roll while I get everything set up and flipped over. When we get back, we are gonna try this red aggro with a black splash for Call of the Death Dwellers to pair with Goblin Chain Whirler, as well as Rick's Matty Reveler on the black splash. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Don't go anywhere. All right, is best of 1 slot machine an appropriate name for the tournament segment? Yeah, the Grixis aggro deck on the site's super reasonable. Big agree.